Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome back to Pedcast. The mic's finally working. Third time is a charm. We're back again here on a lovely Monday evening, afternoon, wherever you are. And we're joined by the lovely Spacecrisp from Deathcloud Esports. How are we doing, my friend?
Good, thank you. Glad to be here.
Yeah, no, glad to have you. Obviously, we finished up the last episode on Friday. And it's good to be back. Good to learn some more information about another organisation and one of our smaller teams around the Rocket League space and the grassroots scene. So we had a bubble player on last Friday. Now we're back with the grassroots scene with another organisation. Just want to thank everyone as well for the support on these episodes. They've been getting bigger and bigger as we've gone along, which is what I hoped at the start. So it's good to see some progress moving forward. And it's always a good thing to aim for. But no, before we start, I'll give you a little run through of what we're going to be going through today. So we'll have a topic 1, as per usual, the organisation background and information. That's just learn a little bit more about the organisation and where they are at now, how they've got to where they're at now, what sort of things have happened along the way. Some information you may not know as well, some little cheeky bits in there, exclusive if you will. Topic 2, owner's background and information. That's more about Spacecrisp, just completely going off on who he is, how he's got here, what he's planning to do, and all that jazz. Topic 3, achievements and ambitions. Topic 4, staff team and playing teams. And topic 5, one of the other questions, a little fun bit, which I'm trying to farm for content, but I am very behind on that. I haven't done that since episode 3, so got a lot to do in terms of editing work. I'm just still trying to figure out how to use Adobe Premiere Pro rather than my previous Movavi, so that will take hopefully another week, and then when I learn, it should be easy. I mean, I say that, but we'll see. But no, moving into it then, let's just get straight ahead and let's get involved. Topic number 1, organisation background and information. Here we go. So, Deathcloud Esports. When did you first have the idea of creating the team?
So it's a very strange and unusual way, but how, the very, very beginning, I was watching a Sunders Khan video on YouTube, and at the end, he shouted out, I don't know if it was a sponsor or anything, a tournament called Indie Gaming League, which is a bit like AGL or PCS before that died. Similar sort of idea. And when I saw it, I was just like, wow, I want to do this, because before that I was playing Rocket League for 3 months and I was just very excited. The first thing I did was try and make a logo. And I messaged some friends if they wanted to get involved. At the time, there was some problems, so there was only 2 of us. But then, going on from that, we first competed in the spring of 2021, and that was the spring circuit. And, well, that was just where it began. It was really exciting. And I got hyped every game. At the time, we were only platinum, so as you can imagine, the gameplay was very scuffed, but with casting going on, it made us feel like we were pros at the time. It's quite funny looking back.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. So all the way back in 2021, Indie Gaming League. I remember the days. I think a lot of people started off their Rocket League, grassroots career there. Some people have probably started there and gone all the way to bubble scene and gone into the RLCS. I'm not sure if there's any RLCS current players who've came through who played Indie Gaming League, possibly Gomb. I'd have to ask him. Hopefully we get him on, so we'll be able to ask him then. But no, it's good. It's good to have. It's good to see. I just think, Indie Gaming League was one of those things that really took competitive gaming into something else, especially when, all you had to play was ranked. I don't know if you played any scrims before that, but I didn't even know about the term scrim until I joined Indie Gaming League and learned a little bit more. And my first team was actually an American organisation called E08 Esports, and we joined into an EU circuit, and I was the first EU team they had. So it was, it was a pretty exciting time. I was Diamond as well. It wasn't too great. It was a pretty pretty bad team. Now coming to think of it, but that's how it works. That's how it goes usually with these sort of things. But no, it's good to hear. 2021, so a very long time. Then you've been around for 2 years, is it?
Yeah. It's been 2 years, but when it took a while for me to actually, at the time, I had no idea what esports organisation was, or even if I wanted to get involved with something like that.
Yeah.
It was only after that ended where I started discovering like this new world in a way.
Yeah, no, I feel that. I think it is a new world. Yeah, I think that's probably a very good explanation on the topic, because compared to your typical playing with friends and having the rank nights with the boys and getting angry at losing your rank and the MMR system, it is even though it didn't matter as much, it still felt like the games meant more, and it still felt like you had more on the plate to lose. The pressure game was there. The adrenaline pump was bigger, and it was one of those sort of things where you wanted to go for the title either way, even though there was nothing really on the end of it. You weren't winning big money. You weren't you were just winning a trophy on the web page. To be honest, that was all it was going for. But it was still I guess a transition into the more competitive side of things, and it probably helped you learn a lot to where you are today. As an organisation, as Deathcloud, and I know a lot of your players from PCS, myself from casting there, so I have got a good recognition of Deathcloud, and I do know quite a few teams, watched quite a few teams, know quite a few players. I've known quite a few players there for quite a while as well, so it's good to see. So what games at the moment, Spacecrisp, is Deathcloud involved in?
So currently it is only Rocket League, and that's solely for the reason that I don't think. Well, Rocket League is a very niche game, as we all know. It's not like there's many other cars with. I mean, any other games with cars flying around and trying to score goals. When other games like first-person shooter games, it's easier to adapt one to the other.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like at this point in moment in time, expanding somewhere else is not the goal yet. But I guess the long term idea of that is we'll eventually, once we're much bigger, got much more support, I've got more admins pushing forward into other games.
Yeah, yeah. And I think, we've had some teams in a similar position to yourselves on the podcast previous. Pretty much the first 5 episodes were completely based around organisations in the grassroots scene. So if you haven't watched them, give them a watch, give them a listen, because some of them may be able to help you in a way. But there's also a team that I had on called Control Esports, and they've done bits considering what they knew beforehand. So they went into an esports course at college down in Basingstoke, and basically what they did was magic. And now they've got a competitive team competing in Valorant all the time, all around England, playing in all the lands. Like, I'm not sure if you're familiar with like Epic Clan down in London, or Insomnia up in Birmingham. So I actually got the chance to meet the guy after like a week after I actually had the podcast with him, which was kind of funny. And no, it's crazy to see, and he's only 2 years older than you. He started the project when he was in a year above you at the moment. We'll get to how old you are soon. We're not going to give any disclaimers just yet. That's the next topic. But no, so I think it's definitely good, and the fact you've been going for so long as well, and you've stuck to it, even though you've probably had, like everyone who owns these sort of things, you've been bumped down, had to climb back up and come back strong, and you've had people who've griefed or people who you trusted too much, and they've gone and turned the blind eye and done something against you. Typical Rocket League scene. It's not the most of. It's not the most of polite scenes at times, but there's a lot of people here as well who try to benefit each other, try to push people in the right direction. But no, as I said, it is one of those things that you never expect it to go big, but little steps eventually will come into big things, and that's what every organisation I've spoke to has said, little or small, where they've got to or not. The little steps that they take grow into big things. So it's always good to keep that sort of idea in mind to push into maybe a Valorant team when you've got the right people on board. But for now, obviously, Rocket League seems where your main focus is, and you've got quite a few teams in Rocket League, which we'll delve into later. So how did you come up with the name Deathcloud then? Where did the idea of that come from?
Being my name's always very interesting with anything else I've done in the past, but to make the logo, I used the original logo. I used a sort of template website where you get a very basic design and you just fiddle around and do whatever you want with it.
Yeah.
And well, it was just a cloud with a skull on it, so I decided to put two and two together, so Deathcloud.
Yeah.
But then, obviously, at the time, my naming is also not the catchiest, I guess, if you want it to be small. So it was Team Deathcloud Gaming. That's quite a mouthful to say, which is why now it's shortened down.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Yeah, Team Deathcloud Gaming is a bit of a heavy one, especially for a caster. Um, Very well, I guess. Now it's Deathcloud Esports. You've got the fierce looking logo. So is that not the first logo then? Is that like a one that's been drafted again and again and again, or how the logo come about?
Yeah, so it changed eventually over time. It started like it does on my jersey, if the camera can see it. It's just
Yeah.
pretty much the same, but basic. And then over time, the colors change very slightly, and you can see the white highlight behind me and the fancy text bit at the bottom.
Yeah, no, it's a pretty impressive logo. I mean, obviously I have to edit it forward for some Twitter posts and stuff like that, so I get to see all the great bits of it, and I get to see the skill that's gone into it, and I can even zoom in on Photoshop and make sure there's nothing wrong with it. So, who made your logo? Was it yourself, or did somebody else help in and chip in and do something for you?
Yeah, so it was all me, but with that original template helping me.
Did you use Photoshop for that editing?
Um, it was like some online software. I can't remember exactly what it was called, but now I have Photoshop, and that makes things a lot easier.
Was it the online version of Photoshop, the rip-off,
I think
by any
so.
chance? Yeah. Oh, what was it called? I've not
It's
used it
like
in so long. Photopea.
photo, yeah,
Photopea. Yeah, Photopea. No, yeah. That was literally Photoshop online, but for free, with loads of adverts stuck to it, so it stays live. No, yeah, I think definitely does make things easier having Photoshop just based off having even just having file storage and things like that, and just being able to open things up when you've last left them. It's pretty useful to have. But no, I remember Photopea. That was where I first delved into looking at Photoshop and messed about with that sort of stuff. And then I had the typical cracked version, and now I actually pay for it. So there you go. Eventually, you end up being a paying customer. That's all that matters for Photoshop. But fair enough. No, I mean a lot of people don't realize how useful having skills like Photoshop and video editing are when you own an organization. It basically just means you don't have to pay for it.
yeah,
And
exactly.
it makes things 10 times easier. That's why with Pedcast, I do the stream and I do the editing, I do the production, I do all of it, because otherwise I'd have to pay someone else to do it, and that to me doesn't sound very appealing. So I'd rather learn all the skills in one as well. This gives me a reason to want to learn graphics. This gives me a reason to want to learn video editing, and it actually is fun doing it as well. So I guess in that sense, you're on the path for a good digital career either way. Because editing in Photoshop is becoming a big part of the world in every digital market. In every market, even my old school has a social media manager editing graphics and editing videos. So it's like it's became a part of everywhere in the world because everywhere is online. Everywhere has a profile online. Everyone's marketing online now. Digital marketing's a massive part of the world, and those online digital creative media jobs are really big. And if it's something you enjoy as well, it's something that even though you've learned it at a smaller level on esports, it's something you can take into massive lengths with even just like Fiverr, but not just Fiverr. You've got jobs and courses in college and A-level courses and university for creative media to push the lengths even further. So, to be honest, it is a very good place to be, especially when you're younger as well. When I feel like when you get older, you find it harder to learn certain things. But when you're young, like for example, myself, I've got a colleague at work who's about 10 years older than me, and the skills she's learnt on Photoshop in university, I've already learnt by myself. So it's like, because of the way the world changed, you could go into a creative media course in university, and then 10 years later, you'll have some kid that comes in who already knows that just from playing games online. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's crazy to think how movements work, but that's exactly it. You'll have someone teaching you who knows the know at that time, but 10 years later, God knows what's going to happen, especially with AI and all sorts of things. So no, it's a definitely an interesting market to get into. But no, did Deathcloud have any other names, or was it just a one sort of spark of an idea that you just kept with a long time?
Yeah, it was that one spark of the idea exactly. But I guess my first promise when I made it was that we were going to win, and
Yeah.
we didn't win IGL or anything. So the goal is that I keep that name at least till we win, because then I feel satisfied with that.
Is it just winning any league with any team?
Yeah, pretty much. But in general, I don't have any idea, or I don't really want to change the logo. I think it's very, or name, it's very unique. I have not seen any other team with a similar logo. quite a lot of the time it's just lettering done in a clever way, and ours is very very different from that.
Yeah, yeah, I think it is. I think the entire like sort of graphics outlook in general is pretty cool to see. I mean, your banner on Twitter, for example, did you make that as well?
No, that one was a Fiverr commission with the custom
Fair play.
cars in it as well.
Yeah, fair play. No, because that's as I said. I mean, the colours definitely stand out. Definitely make the organisation look a little bit nicer. I feel like not having a compound colour and stretching the market a little bit. It's good to have. A lot of teams go with too simple of colours, but no, the logo definitely is catchy. It's different. And it's definitely something that I could see on a shirt in however many months' time or years' time, whenever you fancy making that extra step. But I think the best part about this sort of predicament you're in at the moment is there's a lot of people around who can help you, and a lot of people around who will also want to help you as well, who are older than yourself. So it's good to have. But no, that is topic one then. So we're moving now on to you in topic number 2. So how old are you now, Spacecrisp?
I am 16. My birthday's around the start of last year, so quite early if you're going with school years.
Fair play, fair play. What month?
December, but
December.
not
There you
too
go.
close to Christmas.
Fair enough. Not too close, but in December. There you go. There's your tip. Guess the age. Guess the year. There's always someone doing mad stuff outside the window when I do these episodes. I've just seen a fella nearly get hit by a car on a bike. every time. I never fails to disappoint Liverpool. But no. So how old were you when you were creating the team? Then you said 2021. So by maths, is that 14, 13?
Yeah, it was 14 when 13 when the first idea of the team came in, but when the team was actually formed, then especially when it was an org, I was 14.
There you go. 14 years of age. Fair play. It's a very good time to start. I mean, there's been quite a few people I know who are quite younger who do this sort of thing. And I think, starting at 14 is not a bad time as well, because you also learn a lot and you'll make a lot of mistakes. And I think making more mistakes is better, because I don't see mistakes are always going to be a learning opportunity. So it's good to have. It shows good promise. And, you've definitely stuck with it, probably through some hard times. So what did you do before creating the organisation then?
Well, before like Rocket League or like esports organizations or any of that, I've always been in the digital world in a sense. Before this, I had a YouTube channel, so video editing, graphic making. I've been doing that for quite a while, probably since I was like 11, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I know definitely with like the rise of the Sidemen in England and different YouTubers around about the time, I mean, the first ones that I probably watched was Stampy Longnose and Iblistic Squid. I mean, I'm not being funny, that was when I was around, when I was younger. So after that, everyone wanted to sort of copy the idea of YouTube, and now more people than ever have got careers in influencers and Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, all sorts of platforms. And I have a pleasure to know quite a few of them, but it's crazy to see how something that they've done in their bedroom has turned into something so big and so humongous. Like, I mean, Mr. Beast's a prime example of that. He's gone from zero to hero with his channel, and he's nearly the richest man in the world. I mean, he probably will be in the next 10 years, especially with the way his wealth growth is going. But it is good to see. So, who inspired you to create Deathcloud then? Was it any specific person? Was it more like a different organisation or players in RLCS? What was it that made you make the jump into creating Deathcloud and taking it forward?
I didn't actually really have like any inspiration or anyone I was looking at in the sense of esports organizations. Of course, like watching like NRG win RLCS in season 8 and all of that, that was like quite inspiring. But to make an actual esports organization, that was completely me just deciding, well, I'm going to do this now. And if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it properly. And it took, because obviously there was no one to look up to, or at the time I didn't really know other orgs and we didn't have that connections like we do now. It was definitely took a long time to learn everything. And like you said, a lot of mistakes made along the way. So not what I would recommend to anyone else starting is
Yeah.
try to get the connections down straight away, because it took a lot longer for me to get here than it did for other people if they did have that inspiration from somewhere else.
Yeah. And I think you hit the nail on the head. I mean, networking is one of the biggest parts of esports and the digital world. Anyway, just knowing the know and knowing people who can chip in and help you or get you opportunities or bring the new open door for you. It's really big networking, actually in the esports industry, and I think people sort of downplay that at times. But when you actually go into a real esports job again, it is very, very large. You know, adding people even on like LinkedIn, and having conversations, starting a chat, trying to get to know people, always being the one to associate and initiate a conversation, and associate yourself around the right sort of people. It's really important, and I think you hit as you said, it definitely does speed up the process, and it definitely does get you opportunities. I mean, me as a caster, sometimes it's not about how good I can cast, it's about who I know and how many opportunities and how close I am to the person offering the opportunity. Because sometimes they go, okay, I know Ped, I've worked with him before, I've watched him work before, he's reliable, he's always on time, he does a good show, he puts 110% in, then I'm more likely to get the job than someone who he doesn't know, but he's got more experience because he's already had that experience and that knowledge of me and who I am as a person. So it just feels like that, you know. And it's the same with the real world as well, in every other aspect. I mean, I say the real world, but esports is becoming more a part of it. But in any job and in anything you do in life, you will always need to know the person or try and know people, because it will help you so much to get from A to B, in any career pathway, really. But it's good to have. It's good to see that you've acknowledged it as well, because a lot of people don't acknowledge that. And I think you might be one of the first we've had on who's acknowledged, you know, who you know and networking, because it is really important to sort of gather that knowledge, and even, you know, now I create like sheets just to have different people. So if I have a caster sheet, all the casters I know, production sheet, because if I ever need to be in a production or a production management role, then I can go, okay, well, I've got this many casters, this many producers, I can go bang straight away, I'll have a production in 5 minutes. And that's what's so good about having these connection sheets, because it's like, I know who does it for money, I know who does it for free, I know who'll do it for a favour. It's just different things like that. It's just brilliant. It's brilliant to get. But no, before I go on too much, we'll be here for 4 hours if I keep talking. How did you get into the esports scene then? What encouraged you to get into, well, just into Rocket League in general, and then what encouraged you to make the jump into Rocket League to, you know, to the proper esports sort of scene and RLCS and that sort of thing?
So I've always been a competitive person, and like the idea of like when COVID like lockdown, no going outside or any of that, it was just a way to like sort of like play football, play a sport, but just in a game. It literally is like football with cars that fly. So that was to get in Rocket League. It was literally just something to do. It was competitive. I like a bit of competition. And to create
Yeah,
the org, it was very simply just I think I have a good idea here. I don't really have an idea what I'm doing, but I want to share it because I think they could go somewhere. And the idea of having like a massive army of Deathcloud sounded pretty cool.
yeah, no. I mean, well, it goes back to Clash of Clans. I think we mentioned last week on the podcast. I mean, Clash of Clans and the clan on there, and having a clan on Clash of Clans was so cool at the time. And Minecraft factions and Skyblock teams. There's been teams in almost everything that you wouldn't even expect to be teams. Football teams and sports teams, and you know, it goes on further. But it's good. It's good to have that sort of environment around you as well. And to be the man at the top is always good to see. When you see big progress, it makes you smile. It gives you it makes you feel meaning to what you do, and it does come back, and it reminds you why you do what you do. But no, that is the end of topic 2. So we've got remaining topic 3, achievements and ambitions. Topic 4, staff team and playing teams, and one of the other questions. So what we're going to do, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to throw to a short break. I'm going to get a drink of water because my voice is dying more than usual today. I think we can be thankful I don't have a cast this evening. I'm just playing, so that's good. But no, I'll be back in just about 3 minutes' time. Tell your friends, get this out there, get everybody in, get everybody watching, get everybody followed as well to watch some more episodes for the next 3 exciting topics. I think the next one's probably the most exciting, so, you know, don't go anywhere. I'll be back very, very soon. I'll see you guys in just a moment's time. Hello, boys and girls. Sorry for that extended break. My fault. We are back now, though. We're back to talk some more business. And, you know, we've got an exciting topic coming up. Achievements and ambitions. A very good one. It's always interesting to see where these teams, see themselves in a couple of years' time, or how they're going to progress forward. So let's just get straight into it. Let's dive into the information. So, what would you say, Spacecrisp, that you've achieved so far? Now, it doesn't need to be like winnings or placements. It can also be, in just terms of Discord numbers or your staff team or whatever. It can just be in terms of like, both sort of sides of the placements, or what you've achieved in terms of learning experiences.
Yeah, so very, I guess you could say it like this autumn to this winter, we had great success with the org expanding. Before, it was very small, I'd say, and the teams, there was always problems and stuff, and we could never quite get it going. But when like PCS was a thing and we managed to accumulate 8 teams, which for us was like a record, like, and for some people that might seem like quite a small amount, but for us, we literally went from like 2 or 3 to 8, which is
Yeah,
pretty crazy.
yeah. I mean, yeah, that those jumps are mental. So I mean, I had my first jump about 4 months after my org was created. We went from about 150 to 500 members in the space of 5 months. So it was incredible growth. I mean, we had 350 applications, and to be quite honest, we only took up about 20, 25 of those players, because when you get that rush and you have the staff team that you have at the time, like just starting out and just getting things sorted out and going through logo changes and going through server changes and Discord server, like different channels and stuff, it is quite hard to take on a lot of players. I'll say that. So we had about
Definitely.
345 applications and 25, as I said, 5, 6 teams, and it's not easy to manage 8 teams as well. So I do give props to you, because I know one of the things that I did was probably rush into teams too quickly. 8 teams, and then probably went down to 5, and then 5 was quite a decent number to have, because any more would just have killed us off, really, because we didn't have enough people around to sort of handle it. So would you say you're able to manage the 8 teams at the moment? You're feeling good with them?
Well, now we have 5 teams, but yeah, at the time of 8 teams, I definitely was able to manage it. And lots of people, I did have people like saying like, "Oh, you could create a new team here, you could create a new team there." I was like, no, because we're very solid. But I felt like push it any further and everything will come crashing down. It's all about small steps, progressing like slowly and eventually. Because like the faster you run up the stairs, the more likely you're gonna trip and fall all the way back down.
Yeah, yeah. Small, as you said before, small steps make big improvements. And it's good. It's good to take those measures. And I think knowing your limit is also important. So keep keep it going. I guess keep that notice there. But we'll move on to, how did you achieve what you've achieved so far? How did you achieve that jump, would you say?
Well, with Indie Gaming League closure, it was originally a big problem because there's not many tournaments there, both EU and North America, and they have all that support for both sides, and it's not like a draft league and no catches. But it was just it was really helpful once we got that tournament, because then it was like, oh, they're not in it all. I'll message the team captain to see if they want some help and support, and then by us helping them, then they help us back. So
Yeah, yeah.
that
No,
that sort of like open Discord community tournament sort of style really helped us.
yeah, yeah. And I think obviously you were in PCS before the owner went AWOL and decided to become a bit of an arsehole. So no, I mean the PCS was a big one for my channel as well, actually casting, because I casted a lot of games, a lot of your games. A lot of people you bring today into the chat will have already been in my stream at some point over the past 3 months, watching me cast over the team or cast one of the Deathcloud teams. Obviously, you do have a big audience for those sort of games. So you must have gained some new new contacts through PCS as well, I'd assume.
Yeah, definitely, and it really helped not just with accumulating the org itself, but like I said earlier, connecting with others. Because before that, like Indie Gaming League, it was great. Don't get me wrong, but because it was a website, there wasn't such a need to be on Discord. There wasn't such a community. It wasn't as easy to reach out, and I didn't really have any idea what I'm doing. But now PCS Esports, for example, Evolve, all of
Yeah,
those teams. It was just made it really easy.
yeah, yeah. And I know, obviously, I was playing. I was there as a player with my org, and a lot of communities jumped on the bandwagon with PCS, and I think it's a shame it went the way it did because it was almost like that IGL style circuit, and the same sort of grassroots pathway that a lot of teams had taken and a lot of players had taken, but unfortunately, obviously events happened and it's gone now. So I mean, I know of a couple of leagues that are around, but none that were run at that volume. In terms of the open league and sort of joining in the community base. It was like a quite tight community feel. It's unfortunate, obviously, the way it went, but no, it's good. It's good. Hopefully, another one comes up in the next couple of months. I know LOS Champs is up there, that we were mentioning before stream. So they've just came along. I think Cookie's seeing the opportunity and was like, what, let's just drive it. And now with PCS closing, it's definitely going to be massive for him because I know he can run it. I know he knows what he's doing. He's got the beyond ranked team behind him with casting, so he's got big casters. He's got a lot of connections, Cookies, and he's nice. He's a nice guy. I've had a couple of opportunities speaking with him and meeting the guy. So I'm sure you're in the safe hands there. Cookies isn't going to turn around and say some ridiculous stuff to anyone moaning. Let's put it that way. But no, that's good. So I want to ask you two questions then. So what are your short-term goals? What do you want to complete in a short amount of time?
Well, short-term goals would just be consistent at what we're doing, growing steadily, and hopefully we'll be able to regain a roster that's able to compete, make it through, win a couple games in our LCS qualifiers, get back to where we were before last split. That would be great.
Yeah, yeah, it's fair play. I know you had Connor, Landy, and another fella who I'm struggling to remember the name of. Don't know if you can help me there.
Yeah, so we had Landy, Connor, Snowy, and Slothy.
Yeah, and that was the RLCS team, was it?
Yeah, it
The
was.
top team, yeah, yeah. No, I know I've known Connor for a long time, from six man's actually, like a year, 2 years. Like I've known Connor for a very long time. But no, it's good. It's good to see because the lad's got himself into a team, and a lot of people in that team, progressing far. I know they've split now. Connor told me, so hopefully, you can get them back on the way. But it's good to have those consistency goals as well, because I think people lack that sort of ambition to keep what they have at the moment, and they try to push it one step too far, and it'll all break, and you'll break what you originally had. So short term, not pushing into anything big is good. So for long term, then what do you want to see long term improvements?
Long term, I hope that we'll get so big, the sort of community sort of finances funds itself in a way. I hope
Yeah,
that we'll be able to have a team that maybe comes like top 13, 14 RLCS. That'd be really exciting, and always that's the goal.
yeah, fair play. No, I mean it is a goal, and we had a guy on last week, Start, who made top 32. RLCS didn't make day three, not quite, but he's still pushing for it. And there's a lot of players who are around there, sort of looking for organisations. And as we mentioned before, with Insomnia, getting to send a team there, you do need finances involved to get that to happen, to get people from A to B and to get them all on computers together and get the jerseys to them. It's important to have that sort of stuff. But I think as well, one thing I will say about Insomnia, which did sort of irritate me, was that not many of those teams are going to actually stay together as teams. They're going to split, and a lot of them already have split. And I guess it's probably part of the case of just picking up players around the area in England who can actually attend, which I understand the problem. But the thing is, there's no rosters that were there. I mean, there's one or two that have stayed together, but a lot of them have just split right after, and it was just like a one-off sort of thing where they wear a jersey, they wear a name, and then that's it. They go looking for team again. And there was a lot of players who did that. And speaking to there, we got Start's perspective of the whole issue, and he's like, you know what? As part of the team, we didn't gel together, move on. I guess that is a very big part of the bubble scene at the moment, looking for team and getting the right fit. Some players take it a bit too far, and they'll never have the right fit, and they'll never find the right combination, and that sort of ruins it a bit, because every player can adapt to every player, sort of thing. It is possible. It just takes time, but some people don't give it enough time per se to make that adaptation happen. So I think probably the best way to sort your finances out for Insomnia is just find a team that are willing to stay with each other for more than a week, and don't want to leave each other after 5 minutes or one argument, because all arguments are going to happen when you're in a team environment for so long. I mean, I have a team now the guy I went to Insomnia with, and I've argued with him so many times, but we don't let it get to us. We move on. We go to the next game. It's simple as. Arguments happen. You're all together. It's like having a girlfriend, to be honest. You're together so much that you always argue, and that's part of life. You argue with people when you spend a lot of time with them, and you're always around them. If you're in a bad mood and they say the wrong thing, or they make a joke one day, you'll snap at them, and then you have to apologise and X, Y, Z. I've had that a lot of times with me because I'm in some very bad moods at some points. If I don't have my sleep, I'm a grumpy person. But no, it's good to have. So, where would you want to be? Say, in the future. I know, you're quite young. You probably don't see this side, but where would you want to be with the organisation when you're handing it over and you're handing over the reins to somebody else? Where do you want to have the organisation at?
I would want to have a point like when we would be like proper big. I do take like modern inspiration, I guess, from like Moist Critical and how he like just decided one day that he was gonna have an esports org. And I know with the YouTube being like a YouTuber, it helped him get there fairly quickly. But just seeing how he got there, and he had a team, and they won a major, and they got far into World Championships. That's where I'd want to be. And then you can use those opportunities to help him increase things like personal following, all of the socials for Deathcloud, and that'd be the goal. Because obviously I enjoy this a lot, but I would also be interested in doing my own things on my own channels and stuff. So
Yeah,
hopefully something like this could help encourage that.
I mean, yeah, exactly that. And as I was saying to you in the break, my job came about from me having experience in ties and my organisation, and going through the year experience I had there and learning things along the way. You become quite knowledgeable if you stay perspicacious and you look around and look for things. It's important to take a knowledge of everything that happens and look back at everything that happened, good or bad, and know the reason why it went the way it did. But it's good to see. It's good to see. But no, I think that's the end of topic 3. So moving swiftly on to topic 4 then, staff team and playing teams. Who are your staff team members at the moment, and what are their roles in the server?
So if you talk about staff teams, my second-hand man is called Gracer. He was in the Twitch chat earlier, and he's absolutely amazing. He's not just like someone that I work with, he's a personal friend. He's always helping with like the sort of side people don't see, with creating the Discord channels, the rules, and all of that like sort of behind the scenes action. And I find quite a lot of time that's usually quite underappreciated. And he's not just that, he's also a team captain of Deathcloud Demons, which I believe you have casted before.
Yep, multiple times. Yep. No, okay. Who else?
And then in moderators we're people like Salami. He's been with us for a very long time. He was with us since 2021. And he played for what was called Deathcloud Platinum at the time in Indie Gaming League, and they actually beat my team. So that's quite a funny story behind that.
Fair enough.
And if we go slightly lower down, we got our team captains. We got Gracer, as I just said. In the Europe side at the moment, we got Furbalman. He's captain of Deathcloud Wanderers, who are GC23.
Yeah.
And then in the North America side, we got Dale Blobsky, who's captain of the Champ 1 to 2 team in North America. And then we got his name's always changing, so I can't tell you I've got the right one. But at one point he was called Sigma Brat. He was our captain of Champ 3 to GC1 squad in North America.
Yeah.
And going to a much more simple name, we got JR. He's captain of Deathcloud Not Found, who is our GC2 to 3 North American team.
Yeah.
So got, and then obviously all of our players.
Yeah. No, I think it's good to have captains. I'm a captain right now in ERS, and I think some captains are more off the gas than others. I like to be a captain who keeps the morale of the team. I like to make sure I try and get the best team out at all times. I try and field the team who I feel is going to win the game, which can be hard when you have two players who are so matched. Myself and my teammate are pretty much starting players, but there may be times where, I mean, the start of the first game of the season, he didn't turn up for the scrim the hour before, so I benched him, and he had to watch us lose game 5, and then, to keep things fair, I was late to the scrim in the later week, and I didn't play until game 3, and then we lost again game 5. So it's like, I like to keep those sort of things consistent, and I think captains are important in that sense that they do create that sort of relationship. But no, it is very, very good to sort of have those captains, because it helps you out as well. I think some teams rely on the managers to do more work, but having captains who are self-sufficient is very useful. It did annoy me sometimes when I owned an org, teams having to come to me for fine scrims if they were at a lower level. I'm like, do what we all used to do, go and get in 6-mans, have a look, go on to Gangster now and find those scrims rather than relying on it. And when they can do that self-sufficiently, it sort of helps you out and gets your job a lot less, hands-on with the teams in that sense, and you can focus on the more, important areas of the team, the growth and the expanding that you were talking about before. So is Gracer an A, or is he U?
What? Sorry.
Have you got any NA staff members at all?
Currently we do not. Staff members are. Well, personally, I'm always worried because I've had people in the past, like you said, always people causing problems. You give them too much trust, and then it all explodes in your face. But
Yeah.
one thing I want is staff members, but it does take a while to build that sort of trust.
Yeah.
But what I do like about us is, like you said with the team captains, it's always like a network. It's like team captains do they can schedule their own games and stuff. If they have a problem, then they can take it to Gracer. Then, if the problem goes is a big problem, then that gets passed to me, and we can all help each other in that way, and helps us all be productive. And at the end of the day, have time to do the things that we need to do, which for the players is obviously playing, and for me is supporting the whole organization instead of just solving one problem that's quite easy to solve by themselves.
Yeah. Fair enough. It is a big relief when you have people who can do that, because I remember my first few months was just completely underneath the weather, just getting everybody to do stuff that I thought they should already do, and it does waste a lot of time, which you could be doing other things. So it's good to have. But no, that seems to be well, then again, how are they doing? How are the teams doing? Are they playing anything at the moment? Are you active in any tournaments?
Yeah, it's going pretty good. We got with the AGL, we got 5 teams competing in it. I think at the end of week 1 we have 3 wins and 2 losses, but one of them was a forfeit, which has a unfortunate tale behind it. But overall, we got off to a great start. The first game was Deathcloud Demons versus one of E08 Esports teams, and that was on stream. And well, it was great to watch us. It's been a while since PCS completely collapsed. It's been a while, and it's great for it's great for me to watch and see our progress, and it's great for the teams to finally be back, because it was really frustrating after it closed down, especially as everything got deleted 15 minutes before Deathcloud Vengeance were meant to play their semi-final.
No, right. They won it. They won it. There you go.
Yeah. So it's great for them all to be back and see the improvement.
Yeah. Good. It's good. I mean, and your teams weren't, at all behind in the league. They were all up there. They were all competing well. They were all doing damage, and they're all playing for the badge, as you say in football. But no, it's good. It's good to see that they're doing some good things, doing some magic things. But no, now we move on to the fun part, or the funner part of the day. One of the other questions, gotta love it. I am gonna look to get in the future transitions that will go bang, one or the other, bang, sort of is that. But my editing skills aren't good enough yet, so you're gonna have to wait another 6 months for that, guys. I'm still behind on that transition sort of jazz at the moment. I need to learn how to do stingers. If anybody knows how to do stingers in chat, come and message me. Teach me how to do them. Don't just do them for me. I need to learn. But no. So one of the other questions, simply just, pick one or the other. So in chat, if you have any questions that are one or the other, like cats or dogs or rain or snow, any of that sort of jazz, please send them in the chat and we'll go through them at the end before we end tonight's stream. I will go through the ones that we already have pre-made and pre-set up right now with Spacecrisp. So please do get them in the chat. Now, Space, obviously you see the basis on there. I will change some of them to adjust more to your life and your style of things, because obviously some of them might not at the moment relate to you as such. So I will change them around what I believe that you know, rather than that. So, cats or dogs?
Quite simply dogs.
Do you have a dog?
No, I don't. I've always wanted to have one, but my brother's scared, so it would never work out.
Fair enough. Well, maybe in the
But
future
quite a
when
lot
you
of
have your
people
own
in my
place.
family do. Yeah, exactly.
Fair play. Tea or coffee?
I've got to say tea.
Yeah,
So
fair
it's
enough.
the most British thing, I guess.
You drink tea?
Yeah,
I've never had a proper cup of tea in my life.
really.
I'm
I've got to say
17.
I like having a bit of milk in it, but
Well, I'm 17 in a month and never had a cup of tea. Might have to have a cup of tea
wow.
soon. Yeah, never, just never felt the need. Never felt the need. Red Bull or Monster?
uh, I'd say Monster. I like the colours more.
Like the colours. Have you tried both drinks?
No,
Have you tried
but
either
the
drink?
branding. To be honest, no.
Damn, you're missing
I
out.
like the Monster branding with their like rally cars and stuff. Looks pretty cool.
Fair play. Fair play. Football or rugby?
I've got to say football.
Football or ice hockey?
Oh, that will be ice hockey
There you go.
any day.
Sports games or FPS games?
I because of Rocket League, I've got to say sports games if you count it as one of them.
Fair enough. Yeah. Gaming or sport?
Uh, I've got to say gaming because I'm more involved with it, but sport is like a fun on the side thing.
Fair play on the side. Okay. I'm trying to think. This question might really relate to you as much because you've never been to either, so you wouldn't know anything about Everglan or Insomnia. I've not been to Everglan, but I've been to Insomnia. Let's think. Console or PC?
I've got to. That is a difficult. I prefer being on PC, but I can't abandon PlayStation.
Fair enough. Night in or night out?
Nice in. No Deathcloud outside.
It might it might change in the future. You are 16, so you can't really have
Yeah.
a night out. I mean, I'm just from Liverpool, so we have nights out when we're 12. So it's like we so I mean, we don't really age at the same way as the rest of the country. Okay, I had another one in my head then. Let me get holidays in the country or holidays in a different country.
I gotta say holidays in a different country because well it's just cool to like as well as enjoy it but it's like see different cultures and stuff, and also I'm usually cold all the time, so it's nice for that to be different.
Yeah, no, I absolutely hate England. I love to get out of it. I love to get the breakaway. Okay, I'm welcoming any other questions then, because my brain's been picked, and it'll take me a long time to figure out more. So if anyone else has got any questions, please do drop them in. We'll give you a couple of moments. But no, I mean, I do thank everybody for coming today. It has been a good hour and 15 minutes session, learning about Deathcloud and learning about Spacecrisp. So now, I mean, we'll just wait for any more questions to come in. And if not, then we will be saying a lovely goodbye to you, Spacecrisp. And no, it's been good. It's been good talk to you. Good learning more about you. Casa Resnal, no, not yet. Oh, maybe a question. Come up with one or the other question, Resnal. Ooh, do you watch RLCS, Spacecrisp?
Oh yeah. With school and stuff, GCSEs I haven't had as much time this year, but I've watched it whenever I can, and last year literally every regional, every major, every world, so I was always there. And at the time I was supporting Semper. I don't really have a team this season, but last year's Semper for the reason that I like the players, I like Casio, and that was fun following them.
When do you think Deathcloud will compete in RLCS?
Well, this is sort of battle between myself because I'm usually a pessimist, but I want to be optimistic with this one. I'd say hopefully maybe even next year we'll get somewhere, like or very close with maybe not in EU, but in another region like APAC or SSA.
Yeah, it's always good to go for a minor region team. They're cheap. I could fund a minor region team. So Kingman, if you need a sponsor for a team in Valkyrie Knights to compete in APAC or SSA, I know all the players and I've got money, so I've got to pull on the players and I've got the cash. Just let me know. What is the worst part about Rocket League?
I'd say the worst part about Rocket League is, unlike other games where you can do like multiple game modes, Rocket League hasn't been very innovative, especially since Epic brought it. You just got to do the same thing over again. Seasons just seem the same to me.
Fair play. What is the circumference of your org's logo?
I honestly couldn't tell you. Let's just say
I'll tell you. Bear with me. Get Photoshop up. Well, to be fair, I'll tell you this now, detailed. The problem with the circumference is if you expand the logo, it'll grow bigger. So the circumference is never one specific number. It changes. I'll tell you that now. I mean, the circumference of the one that I put up was probably about 6 centimeters, to be honest. Okay. Last question before we send you away. I think we've already gone for this, but we'll go for it again. Ever thinking about expanding past Rocket League into any of the games?
yes, but that's once we fully solidify our point in the Rocket League scene and we're more well known. So it's easier to get staff, the people that know what they're doing, and I'll happily expand across when the time comes that I feel we're ready.
Yeah, that's good. Last one, because King Gas just put in a blatantly brilliant question. How many hours have you got in Rocket League?
Oh, that is a painful one. I have 2,000 hours and I'm highest struck champ. Champ
I've
1 and 2.
around 2,500 with a 1535 peak. Kingsman,
Nice.
looking for rival this season. You want to pick me up? You get a Pedcaster, a content creator, and a brilliant captain all in one. And I'll be the low end of rival. I'll be the bottom of rival, so I'm a brilliant take for a main player. And then you can get a higher sub. Like, come on now, it's a brilliant thing to do. But no, everybody, that will be it. If I kept answering questions, it would be all day. But no, thank you very much, Spacecrisp. It has been a pleasure having you on. It's been a pleasure talking to you and learning more about you.
Thank you. It's been
Thank
great.
you very much for coming on. It takes quite a lot to get up here and talk, especially with your camera on and speak to everyone. Some people wouldn't do it. You've definitely you've bettered yourself there. You've came on. You've given a good show. I thank you very much.
Thank you.
But no, as well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you're not followed already, please do follow along. We're going to be back here on Friday. I do not know the guest yet because I'm not that organised. I will know on Thursday. We will be back at around 10 p.m. on Friday. We'll have another episode. I'm not sure who it will be with. I'm not sure what their job in esports will be. I'm not sure if there'll be an org. I don't know. That will happen later on in the week. I'll put an announcement out. Make sure you're checking your Twitter. Twitter is at CasterPed. Do you want to give any shout-outs to your social media space, Chris, before we go?
I'll say check out our Twitch. It's Deathcloud Esports very simply. Twitter, Deathcloud.org, and YouTube, Deathcloud Esports again. We post short form content on YouTube quite often, as well as like past games and scrims end up there. And well, if you want to see how Deathcloud started, it's literally there from games 2 years ago till a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, well, brilliant. Thank you very much. I thank you all for watching the episode. If you're not followed already, get following. Tell your friends. Get them in here. Anybody who wants to come on the podcast, please hit me up at Ped, #9687, or hit me on Twitter at CasterPed. I'd love to have anybody on who feels they have a good story to tell. But no, I thank you very, very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen, and I will see you on Friday, 10 p.m. Get it in your calendars. I'll see you soon. Goodbye now.